Life is a relentless teacher. Its lessons are rarely delivered with kindness, and often they only become clear after years of trial and error. For me, it took a decade of stumbling through life's maze to uncover truths that are simple yet profound. These lessons have reshaped the way I approach challenges, relationships, and even the mundane moments of daily life. As I reflect on the past 10 years, I am reminded of a quote by Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words encapsulate a truth that took me years to internalize. The Stoic philosophers remind us that wisdom isn't something handed to us. It's something earned, often through pain, introspection, and persistence. Life doesn't come with a manual, but it does come with opportunities to grow if we are willing to embrace them. There was a time when I felt lost, as though I were swimming against the tide of life. I thought happiness was something external, a destination I had to reach, a prize I had to earn. But life has a way of humbling us, of stripping away illusions until we are left with the raw, unvarnished truth. And it was through these moments of struggle, failure, and even despair that I discovered the lessons I am about to share with you. Imagine this. You're climbing a mountain, and each step feels heavier than the last. The peak is obscured by clouds, and you question whether it's even worth the effort. But then, as you pause to catch your breath, you look back and realize how far you've come. That's what life's lessons feel like. They are not immediate. They reveal themselves slowly, often when you least expect it. This journey has taught me the value of resilience, the importance of perspective, and the power of letting go. It has shown me that true strength lies not in avoiding challenges, but in facing them head-on. These lessons are not unique to me. They are universal truths that anyone can apply to their own life. Before we dive into these transformative lessons, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Together, we'll explore timeless wisdom and powerful insights to navigate life's challenges. Share your own experiences in the comments below. We're all in this together, learning and growing one step at a time. Let's embark on this journey of growth and resilience. 1. Control what you can. Accept what you cannot. One of life's harshest lessons is that we don't control as much as we think we do. Early in my journey, I wasted countless hours trying to bend situations and people to my will. Frustration and disappointment were my constant companions. It wasn't until I embraced the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control that I found peace. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Imagine a sailor on a stormy sea. He cannot control the wind or the waves, but he can adjust his sails. That's how life works. When I stopped railing against things I couldn't change, a missed opportunity, a failed relationship, and instead focused on my actions and reactions, life became lighter. For years, I struggled with perfectionism. I would agonize over every detail, trying to ensure that nothing went wrong. But life doesn't work that way. A vivid memory comes to mind. I once poured months of effort into organizing an event, only for an unexpected storm to disrupt everything. At first, I was devastated. It felt like all my hard work had been for nothing. But then, I realized something profound. I had done everything within my power to make the event a success. The storm was beyond my control, and no amount of worry or frustration could change that. What I could control was how I responded. I chose to adapt, finding creative ways to salvage the situation. In the end, the event became memorable, not for its perfect execution, but for the resilience and resourcefulness it showcased. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning. Frankl endured unimaginable suffering, yet he discovered that even in the face of extreme adversity, we retain the power to choose our attitude. He wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." This perspective became a cornerstone of my approach to life. Another instance was during a professional setback. A project I had worked on tirelessly was abruptly canceled due to shifting priorities within the organization. Initially, I felt crushed, angry at the circumstances and at those who made the decision. But dwelling on the loss only deepened my frustration. Instead, I asked myself, what can I learn from this? I focused on the skills I had gained and the relationships I had built during the project. This mindset turned what felt like a dead end into a stepping stone for future opportunities. In personal relationships, this lesson has been equally transformative. I used to expend immense energy trying to change people, believing that if I just tried hard enough, they would see things my way. But people are who they are, and accepting them as they are, flaws and all, has brought me a sense of peace. It's not about giving up. It's about recognizing what's within your influence and letting go of the rest. Today, I approach life with a simple mantra. Control what you can, let go of what you cannot, and trust the process. It's not always easy, but it's always liberating. Each time I encounter a challenge, I remind myself of this truth, and it helps me navigate life with greater clarity and composure. 2. Embrace discomfort. Growth lies there. For years, I avoided discomfort like the plague. I stayed in my comfort zone, thinking it would keep me safe. But growth doesn't happen in safety. It happens in struggle. It took years of stagnation to realize that every significant achievement in my life was preceded by moments of discomfort. Seneca advised, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Think of a seed breaking through the soil. Its growth is a violent struggle, yet it's necessary for it to flourish. A vivid memory comes to mind. I was terrified of public speaking, but a situation arose where I had no choice but to address a crowd. My palms were sweaty, my voice shaky, but I pushed through. That single act of courage unlocked a confidence I didn't know I possessed. The discomfort was temporary. The growth was permanent. Today, whenever I face a daunting challenge, I remind myself, this is where the magic happens. Each moment of discomfort is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Think of historical figures who embraced discomfort. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, enduring hardships most of us cannot imagine. Yet, he emerged with a vision for unity and reconciliation. While our struggles may not be as monumental, they are no less transformative. Each challenge is a crucible, shaping us into stronger versions of ourselves. 3. Silence is power. I used to believe that having the last word or speaking up at every opportunity was a sign of strength. Over time, I learned the opposite. True power often lies in silence. Silence allows us to observe, reflect, and understand. It prevents us from reacting impulsively and saying things we might regret. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." These words became my guiding principle in conversations and conflicts alike. Silence is not merely the absence of noise. It is a deliberate act of restraint and introspection. It's a tool that sharpens your mind and fortifies your character. In moments of tension, silence can be disarming. I recall a workplace argument where emotions ran high and accusations were flying. Instead of defending myself or retaliating, I chose to remain silent. I listened intently, absorbing not just the words but the emotions behind them. When it was finally my turn to speak, I responded calmly and thoughtfully. My silence had not only diffused the situation, but had also commanded respect from those involved. Silence also cultivates inner strength. In a world dominated by constant chatter and distractions, the ability to sit quietly with your thoughts is a rare skill. It's in these moments of quiet that clarity emerges. Decisions become easier, priorities become clearer, and peace becomes attainable. Consider the strategy of historical figures like Gandhi, who often used silence as a form of protest or reflection. Even in the face of overwhelming challenges, silence gave him the power to remain steadfast and composed. Silence doesn't mean passivity or weakness. It's a form of action, a way to assert control over your emotions and the situation. It's about choosing your battles and timing your responses. As the old adage goes, speech is silver, but silence is golden. In relationships, silence can be a powerful tool for empathy. Sometimes the best way to support someone is not to offer advice or solutions, but simply to listen. Your silence communicates understanding and respect in a way words often cannot. Today, I practice intentional silence daily, whether through meditation, journaling, or simply pausing before I speak. It's a discipline that has transformed how I interact with the world and how I understand myself. Silence, I've learned, is not just the absence of sound, it's the presence of strength. 4. Your failures are your greatest teachers. Failure. The word alone can feel heavy, laden with shame, regret, and disappointment. Yet, over the years, I've come to see failure not as an endpoint, but as a profound and invaluable teacher. It took me a decade to reframe my perspective, but this shift has been one of the most transformative lessons of my life. Thomas Edison, when asked about his numerous failed attempts to create the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." These words resonate deeply because they highlight the essence of growth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a step on the path to it. One of my earliest encounters with failure happened during a pivotal moment in my career. I had been working tirelessly on a project that I believed would catapult me to success. I poured my heart and soul into it, sacrificing time, energy, and even relationships. When the project ultimately failed, I was devastated. I questioned my abilities, my decisions, and even my worth. But as I sifted through the rubble of that experience, I found nuggets of wisdom. I learned about resilience, the importance of adaptability, and the value of feedback. That failure became a turning point, not just in my career, but in my life. The Stoics, too, understood the value of failure. Seneca wrote, "The road to wisdom is steep and difficult. Each failure is a step up that road, a necessary struggle that strengthens the mind and spirit." Failure is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of your willingness to try, to risk, and to learn. A story that deeply inspires me is that of Abraham Lincoln. Before becoming one of the most revered presidents in history, Lincoln faced a series of personal and professional failures. He lost multiple elections, faced bankruptcy, and endured profound personal losses. Yet, each failure taught him lessons that ultimately shaped his leadership during one of the most tumultuous times in American history. In my own life, I've found that failure forces you to confront your weaknesses and blind spots. It humbles you, reminding you that there is always room to grow. But it also reveals your strengths, the resilience to get back up, the courage to keep going, and the creativity to find new solutions. Failure also builds empathy. When you've experienced setbacks, you're more likely to understand and support others who are going through their struggles. It creates a sense of connection and shared humanity that is deeply rewarding. I've learned to ask myself after every failure, what can I take away from this experience? The answers are often surprising and illuminating. Sometimes the lesson is about persistence. Other times, it's about letting go or reevaluating my approach. But there is always a lesson. To anyone afraid of failure, I offer this: embrace it. Don't shy away from the possibility of falling short. Instead, view each failure as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become a better version of yourself. As the saying goes, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. Life's challenges and setbacks are what prepare us for the journey ahead. Failure is not the end of the road. It is a sign that you are on the road, moving forward and striving for something greater. Let it teach you, let it guide you, and most importantly, let it propel you toward the person you are destined to become. 5. Let go of the past. The past can be a heavy burden. For years, I carried regrets, grudges, and guilt, allowing them to shape my present. It wasn't until I learned to let go that I truly began to live. Buddha taught, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or condoning what happened. It means freeing yourself from its grip. It's about acknowledging the pain, learning from it, and moving forward. One pivotal moment came when I reached out to a former friend with whom I'd had a falling out. For years, I had harbored resentment, replaying the hurtful words and actions in my mind. But when I finally decided to forgive, not for them, but for me, I felt an immense weight lifted. The act of letting go was liberating, allowing me to focus on the present instead of dwelling on the past. Letting go also applies to our mistakes. I've made my share of them, from missed opportunities to poor decisions. But each mistake has been a lesson in disguise. By forgiving myself and embracing imperfection, I've found the courage to try again and again. Letting go is not a one-time act. It's a practice. Each time I feel the past creeping in, I remind myself that the only moment I truly have is the present. And in that moment, I have the power to choose how I live and who I become. 6. Gratitude changes everything. For much of my life, I was caught in the endless chase for more success, more recognition, more of what I thought would make me happy. It wasn't that I lacked ambition. Rather, I lacked perspective. I measured my life against others, often focusing on what I didn't have, rather than appreciating what I did. But over time, I discovered that gratitude is the antidote to this cycle of dissatisfaction. Epictetus wisely remarked, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." These words became a turning point for me. Gratitude, I realized, isn't just about saying thank you. It's a lens through which we view the world. It's a choice to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. I'll never forget a particular moment that opened my eyes to the power of gratitude. It was during a particularly challenging time in my career. A major project I had invested months into had fallen apart, leaving me frustrated and disheartened. I felt like all my efforts were wasted. One evening, while wallowing in self-pity, I stumbled upon a journal exercise that asked me to write down 3 things I was grateful for that day. Initially, it felt pointless. How could I possibly feel grateful when everything was falling apart? But as I started writing, acknowledging the support of a friend, the privilege of learning from failure, and even something as simple as a beautiful sunset, I felt a shift. My circumstances hadn't changed, but my perspective had. The weight of my frustration began to lift. Gratitude transforms our relationship with adversity. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, we start to view them as opportunities to grow. Consider the story of Nick Vujicic, a motivational speaker born without arms or legs. Despite his physical limitations, Nick has built a life of purpose and impact, driven by an unwavering sense of gratitude for what he can do rather than what he cannot. His story serves as a powerful reminder that our mindset, not our circumstances, determines our happiness. On a practical level, gratitude rewires the brain. Research in positive psychology reveals that regularly practicing gratitude enhances emotional well-being, reduces stress, and even improves physical health. A simple habit, such as writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day, can have profound effects over time. But gratitude isn't just about appreciating the good times. It's about finding value, even in hardship. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, once wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." For Frankl, even in the darkest moments, gratitude for the small acts of kindness he witnessed sustained his spirit. Today, I approach life with a simple practice. Each morning, I pause to reflect on what I'm thankful for. It could be as significant as a loved one's support, or as small as the warmth of my morning coffee. Gratitude has become my compass, guiding me to focus on what truly matters. It doesn't erase life's challenges, but it equips me with the strength to face them with grace. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, I encourage you to try it. Start small. Take a moment to acknowledge one thing you're grateful for right now. You might be surprised at how this simple act can change everything. Gratitude isn't just a practice. It's a perspective that has the power to transform your life. As we navigate the complexities of life, it's these lessons, born out of struggles, reflections, and growth, that serve as guiding beacons. Each one reminds us that we are resilient, capable, and perpetually evolving. Whether it's learning to focus on what we can control, finding growth in discomfort, embracing the power of silence, or practicing gratitude, these truths are universal and timeless. But these lessons are not just for me. They're for all of us. Life's journey is collective as much as it is individual. We can learn not only from our own experiences, but also from sharing and understanding each other's stories. So now, I turn it over to you. Which of these lessons resonates most with you? What wisdom has your own journey revealed to you? Share your experiences and insights in the comments. Let's create a community where we inspire and uplift each other through our shared humanity. Remember, life doesn't hand us a manual, but together we can piece one together, step by step, lesson by lesson. Stay resilient, stay curious, and above all, stay grateful. Let's keep growing, one day at a time. Please subscribe if you liked the content.